of business. A business of fever and frenzy, systems and superstitions, fast fortunes and the fear of losing it all. Hi, I'm Janet Davies, and this is the Trading Game.
When you're in the pit, there's not 1 minute that you're able to relax.
For every winner, there's a loser.
It is a hard way to make an easy living.
They've been called 20th century cowboys, modern-day pioneers. These are Chicago's traders, the ultimate risk-takers in search of fortune. Although some win, there are many who lose. Still, it is said that there are more millionaires in these trading pits per square inch than anywhere else on earth. You're about to meet some of these players as we bring you onto the floors of the Chicago Board of Trade, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and the Chicago Board Options Exchange. These exchanges have made Chicago #1 in the trading game. No other city, not even New York, has been able to imitate our success. Here at the Board of Trade, the world's oldest and largest futures exchange, we trade in wheat, corn, oats, soybeans, T-bonds, silver, gold, and more. At the Merc, we trade futures on cattle, hogs, pork bellies, lumber, foreign currency, interest rates, and stocks. And at the CBOE, we trade options, the right to buy or sell stocks, foreign currency, U.S. Treasury bonds, and notes. In all of these pits, there are two types of individuals: floor brokers who trade for customers, and traders who trade for themselves, putting their own money on the line in hopes of making a fortune.
What motivates me to come here? Probably the money. It's the best gig in town.
It's the last place that you'll see all the gladiators get together and do battle every single day.
What motivates me to be in this business is the opportunity to gain great wealth.
We live in a capitalistic world, and we must admit that at some point in time. It's not bad to be greedy, as long as your greed doesn't force you to do something improper. It's good to be greedy.
This is a marketplace where people can find their fortune, make their fortune here. It really is a showcase of what can happen in our kind of a free capitalistic economy. And our members, many of them came here with nothing and are worth tremendous amounts of money. Now you have to remember that there are also a fair number of people who come here and leave. And leave, our membership does have some turnover, and those people who leave without fortunes, and they may have left behind what they started with. It's not an easy place. The test of being right and wrong, the measure, is leaving the money on the table or picking it up.
The lure of making big money draws people of all ages and from all walks of life. In the trading pits, you can find ex-athletes, doctors, and lawyers competing against PhDs, MBAs, and high school dropouts. And there's no real correlation between their background and their success. Some start as runners or phone clerks and work their way up. Others lease a seat or membership on a monthly basis. And some buy their seat outright. This can run over $300,000.
It is one of the few places where somebody can come in without any credentials other than his integrity. If he walks in with integrity, he can walk into a pit and start trading and be extremely successful. He doesn't have to show any academic credentials. He doesn't have to have a license from City Hall. All he has to do is have some money and integrity, and there's nothing that can stop him, really.
How do traders make money? Well, there's a number of strategies involved, but basically the name of the game is to buy low and sell high. And they really don't want to own what they're buying.
Well, I've taken delivery of things, and I didn't get 5,000 bushels of beans on my front yard.
The misconception of an individual buying a carload of pork bellies or cattle or $100,000 denomination treasury bond and having that instrument or commodity dumped on his front lawn, as the story goes, is myth.
Well, to take delivery means that you will get a warehouse receipt and that you will be the owner of X number of bushels, say one contract, 5,000 bushels of soybeans in storage in an elevator.
The trading is done using a system known as open outcry, a type of free-form auction. In a crowded pit, it can get a little confusing. How do they know who they're trading with?
You make eye contact with the person on the opposite side of the trade.
On busy days where there's a din of noise in the pit, in order to make sure that you're trading with the same person, you do one of two things. If he's close enough to you, there's no problem. But if the offer you're trying to buy or the bid you're trying to sell is across the crowd, we have a series of hand signals.
I think this is the only business where your word is your bond. There's no big legal contracts here. There are no 50-page documents. It occurs on a word of mouth within seconds in the pit, and it's done tomorrow.
I don't know in any other industry where someone can say to you, yeah, that's done. I realize that's grammatically incorrect, but that's what it said. Yeah, that's done. And you know you did it. And you know that tomorrow, whatever he said he did, he did. And if he didn't and said he did, and it happens 2 or 3 times, he'll never be traded with again. That's sort of the way it stays honest.
With so many people competing for trades, each trader has to find some way to stand out in the crowd. Some wear outrageous jackets so they can be easily seen. It helps to be tall, but if not, you can jump up and down or wave your arms to get attention. Some traders even whistle, but as every trader knows, their most important commodity is their voice. The one who shouts the loudest gets more trades.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now, so good to see you here.
Some people go away on vacation and practice shouting for a day, 15, 20 minutes a day while they're away, only so that when they come back, they don't lose their voice.
Constant screaming, day after day, year after year, can ruin a trader's voice. And that's the biggest fear of the trade, because losing a voice could mean losing a career.
Mighty Marvin makes more money.
Mighty Marvin makes much money. Try it a little bit louder now.
Mighty Marvin makes much money.
Here at Schwab Rehabilitation Center, many traders receive speech therapy to learn how to yell effectively.
Why don't you give me a trading phrase now?
Sell 142. Sell 142.
If a trader can't scream and can't be heard over the other traders, he's not going to get the trade. Hence, he's not going to make the money, and that's his livelihood. So he needs to have a good voice and a loud voice.
True, financially, there might be some people that say there are no limits to this, but physically there are a lot of limits to this. And then you have to ask yourself, financially and physically, what's the worth?
When we come back, we'll look at the emotional and physical strains of the trading game.
If you think standing amongst sweaty bodies all day and being spit on is glamorous, then I guess this is glamorous.
It's as close to combat as I think one can realize without having any physical injury.
You see bodies flying, and you're trading. You've got your trading cards in your hand, and all of a sudden you see somebody flying out of the pits.
Yes, trading can become quite physical. Getting pushed, shoved, kicked, and stepped on is all part of the game.
It's a very emotional business, and when someone is attempting to execute a trade and needs it, they will do whatever they can to get it, and sometimes it means possibly knocking someone over or hitting people, not maliciously, but just in order to get what they want done.
Each exchange is prepared for the injuries that might occur. At the Board of Trade, there are 2 paramedics on duty each day.
Sometimes we get anxiety attacks. Things just get, they just kind of get overcome by the trading and things. And that's what we provide the medical office for us, a place where they can get away from the trading, somewhere where they can relax, someplace where we can treat them.
People can't help but to get injured. They can't avoid it. I mean, they're all crowded together, and the arms start flying, and people might get an occasional black eye here and there, or somebody goes a step backwards on the top hit, and they go off head first.
At the Chicago Board Options Exchange, floor officials police the trading pits.
There's 33 floor officials on this exchange, and the floor official's job, I'm one of them, the floor official's job is to arbitrate disputes over rules on the floor, as one major part, arbitrate disputes about trades on the floor, all the way to arbitrating disputes about someone hitting each other. And even though it doesn't happen very often, when you're in the heat of battle, sometimes a fist fight will flare up, and I'm one of the idiots who has to go in and break it up.
It isn't difficult to understand why there is tension in the trading pits. These traders have money on the line, their own money, and that money can be lost in an instant.
When I started, I lost a lot of money at the beginning. I learned a great lesson then that a lot of young traders don't learn, and that's to respect the fact that you're making money and that this is real money.
But when you're trading, you don't think of it as real money. There was an article written one time that if traders really had to sit down and peel off the money that they make or lose in a day, that people would be a lot more careful the way they trade.
To be successful in this business, you must detest losing as badly as you detest anything, but you must keep it in perspective by being disciplined.
Losing feels a whole lot worse than winning feels good.
It's the please God, just get me back to even and I'll get out. Or get me back to where I wouldn't get out yesterday and I'll get out.
The possibility of losing is always in a trader's mind, and the ability to take losses is one of the most important aspects of the game.
According to statistics, a person may lose 70% of the time that he trades and only make 30% of the time. But the 30% of the time that he's making it, he does hopefully quite well.
There is no one down there that anyone can point to that is a tremendous success that hasn't done two things: failed miserably at some point in time. There's no success story down there that individual can't tell the opposite of that success story: total debacle and failure. The other thing that one should know about the success stories down there is that there isn't one successful story down there that individual didn't pour over many, many hours of study and burn the midnight oils time and time again to develop the skills that are necessary to be successful here.
When you sit back at the end of a day or a week and you look at how much money you made or could have made, which is just as frustrating, you say, wow, it's hard to believe that someone can make this kind of money. But it's a lot of hard work. I do have a pocket quote machine that gives me online, round-the-clock currency quotes. If I'm not on the floor or it's not our trading hours, then I will have that by my side almost all the time, even to the point of where I might have it, you know, on a date in my coat pocket, you know.
Close to your technical analysis worked out. How well did you do?
Although there are times when traders use hunches or gut feelings to make a trade, many spend long hours going over charts and graphs trying to figure out where the market is headed.
Okay, it looks like we did all right. We did pretty good today, guys.
But even the most calculated systems and carefully analyzed data aren't always foolproof. No one trader is always right. That's where luck comes into play and a little superstition.
If I have a good day, I try to wear the same clothes the next day. If I have a bad day, I don't ever wear them again.
I always wear red socks. It reminds me of how bloody it can be if you're on the wrong side of the market. I always enter the building and leave the building the same way, through the same doors, through the same gate, and I leave the same way.
Well, I try to wear the same shoes as long as I'm winning. These are winning shoes.
I'm not superstitious whatsoever, but I always keep 5 pencils in my pocket.
Unfortunately, even the lucky charms aren't always lucky, and every trader has their own way of dealing with the losses.
I walk home, which is about 1.75 miles or something like that, and then you kick yourself the whole way home, and even if you've had a winning day, you just remember the losing trades.
I play the viola, play with a string group, listen to music, ride a bike.
I'll usually jog at night or try and play tennis or something just to get my mind off of what I've done.
Many use exercise to help get rid of tension and aggression. Here at the LaSalle Club, traders can grab a quick workout even before the market opens.
Coming here seems to help them release some of the tension that they build up down there. And more than that, it tends to make them feel better. Whether it's doing the bikes or the treadmills or whatever it is, helps the cardiovascular conditioning. that cardiovascular conditioning in turn will help lower that blood pressure, which they tend to build up a little bit too quickly on the floor down there.
It's good psychologically, if anything. You might be having a bad day, but you know that it's all right. You can go out and work out, and everything will be all right.
Up next, how much is enough? And why don't traders quit when they're ahead?
We always say on the floor, we'll look at somebody and they've made, maybe they're worth $10 million, something like that. Just say that. We always say, why is he here? I mean, there's so many things I would love to do. Why is he here? And it becomes a game. It's the game of trading. And it's fun. I mean, it's fun to be right. It's horrible to be wrong, but it's fun to be right. So when you say, why doesn't a trader quit while he's ahead, he or she's ahead, what's ahead? I mean, it's the same as there's no definition of successful. It becomes a game. And the more money you have, the more fun it is to play.
When I first started and I heard some of the stories of the other traders making $50,000 or $100,000 in a day or in a week, and I said to my other neophyte cohorts, I said, geez, if I made that kind of money, I would quit, or geez, I'd take the summer off. But when I had my first 5-figure, that's 10,000 plus day, I found myself in the pit the next day.
You know, after a while, now it becomes more of the challenge of the day because you've already made enough money. So now let's see how I can outsmart or outwit the rest of the world.
Almost all traders agree. Sooner or later, the money becomes just a way of keeping score. They judge themselves by their bottom line, but it's the game that they love.
There's a feeling you get in the pit of your stomach before the market opens, and that's the pressure. That feeling I really love, right before the bell rings, about a minute when you're watching the clock and the clock's ticking down, it's just ready to start. You love it.
It's too much fun. It really is. The whole idea of trading is once you get involved in it and you get started with it, you really do get caught up in it, and it makes everything else seem so routine.
Why am I in the business? It's a challenge. It's the best challenge ever. I've never seen a business in all of my 24 years that's been as challenging.
When I get up in the morning, it's a new day. It's a completely new frontier waiting for me. Without being maudlin, I can make as much of this day as I have the capability or the capitalization or the wherewithal or the knowledge to do so. I don't have anyone that's telling me that I can't do it.
For 15 months, I stood in a crowd where there was no action, and I tried to trade either over the phone with other exchanges or whatever, and I started feeling bad. And it wasn't, you know, the fact that I wasn't making any money it was no consequence. The fact that I wasn't trading was, and now that I'm trading back again in a liquid pit, the S&P 500 pit, it's like I have extra energy and I have a whole different outlook on life, and it has nothing to do with the bottom line. It's the fact that I'm able to interact with the other traders and do what I want to do. It's a good feeling. I really don't know what's going to happen when I'm too old to stand in there and not be able to fling them with the other guys.
Well, it does take a certain amount of guts and stamina to survive the trading pits. As for me, one elbow in the rib would be enough. I'd wave goodbye, but I'm not sure whether I'd make or lose money.